Patrick Hayes, reporter for the online current affairs magazine Spiked. Patrick, good evening. How do you think this UN-wide vote a couple of hours ago is going to affect what's happening in Syria, or indeed the international response from now on?
Well, remember, this is a non-binding resolution, so I mean, it's not going to have any direct impact at all. I think in general it's being used to try and step up the pressure on both Russia and China to start to take a stand against Assad. And effectively what it's doing is saying that we disrespect the sovereignty of Syria and we don't want the Syrian people to determine their own future. So I don't think there's anything positive that's going to come out of this. I just wanted to say about Kofi Annan, though, because what's very striking with this situation is that yes, they can condemn Assad from the UN Assembly, but they don't have any alternative. When Kofi Annan was initially negotiating his 6-point treaty, his argument was very much, if you take this off the table, then what else are you going to be left with? Now, no one has an alternative to that at the moment. William Hague today, the Foreign Secretary of the UK, basically said we still want the Kofi Annan plan, but we want to imply that there are consequences if it's not followed. There are a lot of empty threats going around at the moment, but no one knows what to do.
Yeah, indeed. Talking about British Foreign Secretary William Hague there as well, while you are, he revealed the UK plans to step up its help for the Syrian opposition. He was talking about giving non-lethal help, as he was putting it. He insists London isn't sending weapons, but how's it justifying this one-sided approach while you're talking about William Hague?
Well, I mean, yes, he's suggested he's going to offer non-lethal aid. He hasn't given specific details of this yet, but it does seem like it's going to be intelligence. It does seem like there's going to be an awful lot of support announced for the rebels over the next few weeks. And of course, this comes just after President Obama has announced, well, it hasn't been announced, but it has been revealed that there has been a secret plan to basically allow the CIA to assist the rebels as well. The thing I find very striking about this is that there's a real historical amnesia that's taking place among Western leaders, where they don't really know who the opposition is. There are lots of concerns about the makeup of it. There are jihadi elements. There are a lot of people who the West would not like to do business with, but they're stuck into this mentality that they'd rather help anyone get into power. They'd rather support any of the opposition in Syria than they would support Assad. Assad has become this bogeyman, just like Gaddafi before him, and they just see we need to get rid of him and everything will be okay. It's a naive approach that will do no help.
Let's just examine Russia's position, Patrick, while we've got on the line. Russia's voted against that resolution tonight, calling it one-sided because it only pressures the government to end the violence, not the rebels. Why is the international community continuing to do that?
Well, I think it's very striking that, obviously Saudi Arabia has basically drafted this document, which doesn't mention the opposition at all. It's completely condemning Assad. And we have, over the past couple of months as well, a complete cherry-picking of who the West wants to work with, which countries. So you have Syria's main strategic partner, which is Iran, not allowed to sit around the negotiation table most of the time. So they've been very selective about who they want to work with. And you can understand why these things are going to fall apart when the West wants everything done on its terms. But I think in general with this resolution, Saudi Arabia has drafted this with the support of various allies and of course with Western support as well. They want to put pressure on Russia in particular, but also China to basically relax their stance, which is that we should not get involved in meddling in the affairs of a sovereign country, which is what Syria is.
Final quick question.
Meddling impulse is a very negative one.
We've only got about 30 seconds. We've been reporting on the revelation that President Obama apparently covertly allowed rebel support via the CIA to help oust Assad. Is the US bypassing legal institutions by doing that?
Yes, well, it does seem like they are, yes, and it seems like increasingly that will be the case, that if they can't get the Security Council to condemn Assad, they'll go through NATO and they'll find other covert ways of trying to get rid of Assad. They've got a very bloody-minded approach with this, and it could intensify and internationalise the conflict and make the situation much worse for the Syrian people than it would be if they just backed out completely.
Patrick Hayes, thanks for your thoughts. Patrick Hayes, reporter for the online magazine Spike there.